Greetings, my little yarnivores. Fiber Spider back again with another tutorial. This time, I'm going to show you how to do the corner-to-corner stitch, which in this case, I'm going to show you how to do a scarf. Not terribly wide, but wide enough. And you start at the corner, and instead of going in rows this way, you're going this way. And you'll see what I mean. I will explain. And for this example, I used, again, the Caron Cakes. And no, I'm not sponsored, but I do love this yarn. It's become one of my favorites. I've used the Caron Cakes for this example, and it is in the colorway Cherry Chip. And as it progresses with the color change, which I absolutely love how this works, as you can see, it goes into a shade of red, and then into a shade of pink. Oh, let me show you a bit better. See, it goes into a lovely shade of pink. And then it keeps going and going into another shade of pink. And that way, because the yarn changes color of its own accord, and I haven't finished this yet, but as the yarn changes of its own accord, you don't need to cut your yarn, start another color, sew in all those ghastly ends. Makes it so much easier. Now, I've gotten a pretty good length on this with the one skein. I have this much left, but I like for my scarves to be on average about 7 feet long. And at the rate that I'm going, I'm probably going to need to go into a second skein. So that's just to give you an idea if you want, a scarf, it's not a foot wide. I would say this is probably a good 7 inches wide. In order to do a piece this wide by roughly that length, you will probably need 2 skeins. Just to give you the heads up on that. Unless, of course, if you're using a larger gauge hook, or, if your stitches are looser. Everybody's gauge is different. It's your own personal thumbprint. Or if you want a shorter scarf, what have you. Now, for this example, I'm going to be using, again, Caron Cakes. This time it is called Rainbow Sprinkles. There's no purple, but, what can you do? So we're going to work with this, and I'm going to show you how to do your very own piece. All right, so you don't need a tremendously long tail, but one long enough for sewing in the end later. I'm going to be working with a size I crochet hook. You can go a little bit tighter, a little bit looser. It's totally up to you, but I find that it works out nicely with this weight of yarn. So you start with a slip knot, and then you chain up 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then we're going to do a double crochet into the 4th chain from the hook. And this is going to create our corner piece. So we've got 1, and then we do 2 more double crochets into the remaining chains. And so it's going to be a total of, quote-unquote, 4 double crochets. That bit of chain counts as 1. So we've got a cluster of 4 here. Alrighty. Then we're going to chain up 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Alright. Then, before we turn our work, typically we would now, but before we turn our work, we're going to do another double in the 4th chain from the hook. Alrighty. And then we do 2 more double crochets going along the length of this chain here that we just created. Alright. Alright, now we turn our work. Okay, now what we need to do is we're going to join this together with a slip knot. And we're not going to be going, typically we would be going into this stitch, but no, actually we're going to be going into this space that we created. And we're going to do a slip knot. So I pull the yarn through and then immediately through that loop. All right, so it's now connected. Let me just get some more yarn here. Okay, next so we did our slip knot. Now we chain up 3. 1, 2, 3. And then also into this space, we're going to do 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so as you can see, we've created the corner, and then we're going in the diagonal. We're going to keep going back and forth, back and forth. And what we're doing is we're setting up the base of the width of our piece. Now you can go as wide as you want to. You can go absolutely crazy, and you can make, a blanket, a throw, what have you. But for the sake of this tutorial, we're going to make a scarf. All right, so now we're going to chain up 6 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then again, in the 4th chain from the hook, we do a double crochet. 1, 2, and 3. So we have our cluster of 4. We turn our work, and into this loop here, we're going to do a slip stitch, connecting our pieces. All right. Then we chain up 3. Okay. And then we do 3 double crochets into this loop right there. 2 and 3. Okay, then we have to connect once more with a slip stitch into this loop here. Connecting with a slip stitch, we chain up 3. 1, 2, 3. Sort of like creating a staircase that's constantly connecting to itself and growing as it goes. And we've got our 3 double crochets, 2, and 3. All right. So basically, you continue on in the same manner for as wide as you want the piece. Now, for the one that I had already started, what I did was, see, you can now, by the look of this, you can see how it comes about. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And that's just a base. I find that it makes a nice width for a scarf. So if you care to, you can go ahead and continue on in this exact same fashion for a total of 9 blocks across, and meet back up with me once you've reached the width that you want, and I will show you further stuffs. Alrighty, see you in a bit. Okay, so what I decided was to leave off here so that it makes a rather manageable swatch so that you can see it easier for the sake of this video. So I stopped at a total of 5 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, I don't want it to get any wider for this sake. So what we're going to do now is we're not going to increase on one side, and we are going to continue on the other side so that it'll keep growing as a piece. You'll see. It'll make sense. So what we do is, instead of continuing to grow, what we're going to do is we are going to turn our work, All right, and we're going to do slip stitches so that it's not going to continue going up, chaining 6 and doing another block. No, we're just going to turn the work now. And then we're going to slip stitch into the top of these stitches here. So that's 1, 2, and then slip stitch into this space here. Another little slip stitch. All right, now, so this is going to be the base. This is going to be the width of our piece. So then we continue to go in an upwards fashion. 1, 2, 3. And then again, into this loop space right here, we do our 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. Need more yarn. All right, sorry about that. Okay, and then into, again, this loop here, we do our slip stitch. This pattern is really great with repetition. After a while, you won't even have to think about what you're doing. You can just go on autopilot, listen to an audiobook, and enjoy yourself while you make some remarkable progress in a short amount of time. The scarf that I showed you before, I started that this morning, and I already worked a shift. So, I mean, yes, you can get pretty far in a relatively short amount of time. All right, 3 up, 3 double crochets into that loop. 1, 2, 3, slip stitch into the loop, chain up 3, three double crochets into the loop. Now what you need to be aware of is which side is growing and which side is not. That you do have to be careful of. See, I'm still going up because we started at the base. So, but, if you're making a strip, a scarf, this side has to keep going up, whereas this side is not growing anymore. So that's something that you need to keep in mind. All right, and I will walk you through it so you won't have any problems. All right, so since we're on the growing side, we need to continue doing as we did before, of chaining 6, 4, 5, 6, do our double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook, and then 2 more. There we are. And then we turn our work, and we're going to connect just as we've done before, doing a slip stitch, chain 3, and it's just a matter of going back and forth and back and forth, and I will meet back up with you when I reach the end of the row, and we'll continue on. All right, so I've continued on, and I'm almost done with my row. I did my slip stitch, my chaining up of 3, my 3 double crochets, 2 and 3. All right, and then we're going to slip stitch into here. Okay, then immediately we turn our work, because we're not growing anymore on this particular side. And we slip stitch into these stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, and then into the loop with a final slip stitch. Alrighty. Now, for the sake of this demo piece, we're not going to have it grow any taller. We're going to leave off, just imagine that this piece is a bit wider and a bit longer. Use your imagination, I'm sure you can. All right, so then what we're going to do is we're not going to increase here anymore. We were, but we're not going to. But we need to still keep going up in this direction. So just as before, 2, 3, and keep going. Just as we have before. We slip stitch, and I will meet back up with you when I reach the end of the row so that I can show you how we're then going to go from here across that way. It'll make sense. Believe you me, it shall. Back in a flash. All right, so I'm nearly at the top. I already did my slip stitch. I did my chain 3, and then my 3 double crochets. Okay, and then we have to connect, so we do our slip stitch. Now you could conceivably turn your work now and do your slip stitches across here, but for, as I say, stuff and giggles, I'm going to do just one more up, and then I'm going to turn. So I did my chain 3, my 3 double crochets. All right, now I'm going to turn my work, okay? So this is going to be the very top of the piece, or the end of the proverbial scarf. All right, so now I'm going to turn my work, and I'm going to slip stitch 1, 2, and into this space here, my final slip stitch. All right. See, now we have to basically fill in this gap of a triangle. So what we need to do is chain up 3. Are you seeing the repetition here? Gotta love it. All right. And so we do our 3 double crochets. Our slip stitch into the loop, our chaining of 3, 3 double crochets, now granted, if this yarn changed color a bit more frequently, it would look a little bit more interesting at the moment, but another thing to keep in mind is that if you're doing a really wide piece, the stripes will of course be thinner. And if you're doing a narrow piece, such as I am now, the diagonal stripes will be much thicker. It's all about the width. Okay, almost there. 1, 2, 3. 3 double crochets, and I'm just about at the end there. All right. So, as before, we're going to continue to do a slip stitch because this side isn't growing, the other side isn't growing. Everything is going to be shrinking from now on in. All right. See? Alrighty. So now we do our slip stitches. 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, and then we do our chaining up of 3. 1, 2, 3. Our 3 double crochets into that loop. Oops. Okay. Slip stitch. And basically you just keep doing this and doing this and doing this until you can't go any further. And I'm going to keep at this for a bit. And show you that we can, in fact, close up that triangle and finish it all up. Alrighty. How much more we got? Okay, we just got this corner piece. All right, we're definitely getting there. See? Definitely getting there. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to, again, turn our work, slip stitch across. Figure I'll do all of this for you because it is a nice small swatch, nice and manageable to work with. And then slip stitch into that loop, chain up 3. And it's just 2 more rows, well, diagonal rows, so to speak. Shouldn't take long. Don't want to bore you, but I do wish to be thorough. All right, and then we do our slip stitch into that loop, chaining, oops, hello, chaining up of 3, and our 3 double crochets, 2, come on. It always helps when the yarn actually behaves, don't you think? All right, and 3, slip stitch into that loop. All right, and now we just have to fill in this corner, and then it'll be done. Well, the swatch will anyway. Alrighty, and so we turn our work. We do our slip stitches. 2, 3, and into the loop. 4, chain up 3. All right, we're almost there. We're in the home stretch. And then we do 1, 2, and 3. Awesome sauce. Okay. And then what we do is we have to, of course, we have to connect with a slip stitch. All right. We made it. All right. So as you can see, we have a completed rectangular piece. Now, of course, we started from here and we went back and forth. So picture, if you will, picture that this is wider and a lot longer, and you too can do the corner to corner, and it is an absolutely lovely, lovely stitch, very quick, very easy. And of course you can refer back to the earlier parts of the video if you get stuck. Also, I do love the texture that this creates, because every other block is sort of raised and indented. I don't know if you can see it very well with the shadowing. Absolutely love how this feels. And of course, the yarn itself lends itself to that too. It's a lovely yarn. Anywho, I really hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. I mean, I absolutely love it. It's a lot of fun. And I hope that, you share the video and you make one of these scarves as the season's getting colder and colder. Make one of these scarves, share it with somebody you love, because as I always say, this, knowledge is power, but sharing is caring. Share this with somebody you love. Share this with somebody you care about. Please do. I would be delighted with your comments, your questions. Please like this video. Please subscribe for more videos. I'm trying to do them as often as I can, especially in this time of year when it's getting all chilly and we want to be nice and snuggly when it's windy and cold out there. And so I'm going to keep making videos. Would love to see your comments. And, until next time, keep stitching, keep caffeinated, and keep smiling. I'm just all snuggly. Anyway, until then, you have a great, great day, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.